Okay, the former CEO of Home Depot and Chrysler and chairman of that company, too, Bob Nardelli, joins us. It's good to see you again, Bob, because we really need you on this story. This is baffling. Okay, California Governor Gavin Newsom, he has a nearly $28 billion state budget deficit, but he wants to cut nearly $100 million out of the budget for public safety, like prisons and law enforcement, but doubling down on spending $1.7 billion on climate goals, including those relating to equity. What is going on in California?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on. You know, when you talk about the budget process there and the things that the governor is prioritizing, no different than a CEO who has to make very tough capital allocations. You have to rack and stack your capital, and then you got to make sure that the prioritizations are appropriate with the strategy or the mission of the business or the state in this case. And I think that the population there, all things being equal, we want clean air, but they'd rather vote more for protection to try and rein in this lawless society, not only in California, but pretty much across the United States, unfortunately, right now. So I think that he really needs to do a consumer back or a population back and get some prioritization on what's really important to the people of his state that he represents. And that's how they'll really be. A CEO is evaluated on that. And I think a governor is evaluated on that also.
I mean, he's talking about equity, but what's more of a civil rights problem than being murdered in your own community? I mean, he still has, or having a robbery, he still has a crime problem. You know, in San Francisco, just over the past year, Bob, nearly 8,700 cases of theft, 2,000 burglaries, nearly 2,300 cars stolen. Where's the equity in that?
Yeah, there really isn't any equity. It's hard to justify that. I mean, the horrific case the other day where one of the actors on TV series walks out, basically, you know, asks whether his car is being towed away and is shot dead. I mean, there's no equity in that. It's just horrific that we're hearing, you know, break-ins, we're hearing robberies, we're hearing hijacks with, you know, babies left in the car. So it really is important, I think, to make an honest appraisal of a prioritization of capital allocation and what would serve either your business or your state the best, Elizabeth. And I would really challenge the governor to take a hard look at that and try to make some new appropriations for what's going on. And look, it's not only the budget, right? It also is the judicial system has to start to impose consequence for behavior and conduct out there that really has turned a dark eye to really enforcing the laws that we have here today.
You know, stop treating shoplifting like just a parking ticket. Stop calling your store security guards, you know, loss prevention associates. I mean, we've got stores like TJ Maxx. They're now outfitting their security guards with body cameras. They're videoing people stop shoplifting. 35% of retail chains are talking about that. How about changing the laws? And how about just saying, yeah, it's shoplifting?
It is, Elizabeth. You know, when I was fortunate enough to be part of Home Depot, we had shrink, but that's due to handling damage, freight damage. It wasn't theft. Now, we had some, but not nearly the magnitude. You know, I've reflected on what TJ Maxx is doing, and I'm sure they have tested this, but I would be concerned that putting a camera on an associate or a salesperson might be a little intrusive. If I'm shopping there, I'm not sure I want to be videotaped, you know, asking questions and, you know, asking about sizes.
Yeah, that's the world we're in, Bob, I guess. You know, it's tough. Bob, you're terrific. Thank you so much. You made a good point there. We'll stay on the story. Bob, come back soon. We love having you on.